Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays usually at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US, which is 10 a.m. in Australia or 1 a.m. if you're in the UK. As always, if you miss the live streams, you can catch up with the premiere event streams on a Friday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time in the US, which is 7 a.m. in Australia or 10 p.m. if you're in the UK. It's good to see all you guys and girls. I hope you're all well. You're in chat very early this morning. Good to see. Oh, just give me a second. My phone is going off. Okay, back. Yeah, it's good to see all you guys and girls. Hope you're all well. Make sure my mic is unmuted and everything is good to go. I'm doing as good as can be expected. Thanks for asking, Sniper Echo. You guys know the problems that my friend has been having with the hospital last week with his operation. Yeah, the band is looking absolutely awesome, Sniper Girl. It's going to make a great addition to your portfolio and you should definitely put it up for sale. Yeah, I see you mentioned on the Discord that you got to rig it, so that'll be a cool thing to do, rig the van. You did a great job, Sniper Girl. So Sniper Girl's just saying in chat that turned out better than she expected. Got to make up for those 3 streams you weren't there, Sniper Echo says. And Sniper Girl says, your name is Phil. Thought your name was Josh or something. Oh, come on. 2 streams. I missed 2 streams and you guys and girls. Morning to you, Smurfberry Barbecue as well. It's good to see you. Sniper says to Sniper Girl, never doubt yourself. You're awesome. Really amazing amount of work and really well put together. It is. She's done a great job on the van. Really great job. Anyone that wants to see what we're talking about, jump on the Discord server. You can click that blue graphic below my stream in the panels that says join the Discord server. And you can check out Sniper Girl's work there. She has done a 360 degree image as well that you can check out. So we might check the final image out in 2 secs. Sniper Girl says, yeah, said I was moved to Wednesday, right? Yes, that's right. We go already on your portfolio. Good to hear, Sniper Girl. Ali, it's good to see you, Ali. I hope you're doing well, Ali, and it's good to see you. Sniper Girl says the 360 was surprisingly easy to do. Yeah, the hospital. Okay, this is what happened, guys. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, get to the hospital by 6 o'clock because you have to be there by 6:30. We got there a little bit early. So 6:30 rolls around, we go into the post-op, or I think they call it pre-op, waiting room, register, sit around waiting for a couple of hours. Then he gets called in to have a consultation with the duty nurse, comes back out, wait for another hour or 2. Then he gets called back in for shaving. So they've got to shave his entire body and he's got to shower with this special soap that's supposed to kill any germs on your skin before an operation. So yeah, he goes and does all of that. So basically I've been sitting out in the waiting room from 6 o'clock in the morning at this stage up until about, I think it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. And then he gets called in to go for surgery. So what they basically do is they strip him down, he puts his gown on, he lies on the gurney, they wheel him down outside the operating room. All the time at them saying, oh, come on, hurry up, while he was having his scrub shower, saying, oh, they're waiting for you. So they wheel him down, they sit him outside the operating room where he stays for 4 hours. 4 hours, guys. 4 hours lying on a table, naked apart from this, the surgical gown, waiting for them to start his operation. And then basically they've come out and said, oh, the previous operation that the surgeon was doing ran over, so there were complications that took longer than the surgeon expected. So his operation was cancelled. Now, needless to say, this is a serious operation he's got to have. So he was really, really upset. And I understand that it's cruel to take someone all the way to the operating room. You know, when you're going to go into surgery, it's really stressful. So to have him lying out there on that gurney for 4 hours for nothing, just to have him sent home after that, he was really upset. He was really stressed. He was getting, it wasn't a good situation. And to top it all off, they said to him, it might take another 2 weeks for him to get rebooked in for the operation. So that depressed him as well, because, the longer he leaves the operation, the more chances are he might die. So he was stressing out about that. Anyway, a couple of days ago, it might have been I think it was on Friday last week, they called back and said, they can fit him in tomorrow. So his operation is tomorrow, and they've promised him that it will go ahead. They won't cancel on him again. Now, of course, I guess it depends on if there's an emergency that the surgeon has to do or something like that. But apart from that, he's booked in for tomorrow. They say tomorrow is the day. So it all goes, everything I did last week we'll have to do again tomorrow. So that's the story. But he was not happy. He was very depressed. He seems better now, but fingers crossed that tomorrow happens the way it's supposed to. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, there's a DirectX plugin for Unreal that allows you to do it with a click of a button. What are we talking about? Oh, talking about the 360, I think. Sniper says shave the entire... That's right. You have to shave him from head to toe, apart from his hair. Completely shaved. Which I don't really get. I don't understand why they have to shave you for an operation, but I don't know. I've never been under the knife, so I don't know. Yeah, there was one hell of a shave. At least I'll have less to shave tomorrow because they did him last week. Sniper Girl says I must check that out. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, we'll post a tutorial I followed in Unreal for it. Yeah, post a tutorial in the tutorials and tips section on the Discord server, Sniper Girl. But it sounds like it might be something other people could be interested in too. Yeah, that's what happened. So that's the story of what happened last week, guys. It was all due to go ahead. We, like I said, got up at 4:30. I went to the hospital, met him at the hospital. We were there all morning, just for it to be cancelled. The worst part, and it's really cruel, to put someone on a gurney outside the operating room and leave them there for 4 hours. I mean, we've got good healthcare in this system, in this country, a good healthcare system in this country. Don't get me wrong, we do. But it just seemed really cruel because, like I said, when you're going to have an operation, you're anxious, you're worried, and to leave someone in that state for 4 hours was cruel. I think it was cruel. They didn't do it on purpose. It was just the way things happened, but I was not happy about it because I thought it was cruel. And if it had happened to me, I would have been ballistic. I would have. But he was just incredibly depressed. Sniper Echo says, I hope all goes perfectly as planned tomorrow. I do too. Fingers crossed, guys. I mean, come on. If anything happens tomorrow, then it's just going to be devastating. You'll be devastated. And of course, fingers crossed that he pulls through the operation because it is it's a serious operation and people have been known to die from it. So yes, guys, that's the story of what happened. I just wanted to fill you in on what went on last week. I'm just checking up on Discord of what you guys have been posting. I see Smurfberry's posted some stuff of some photogrammetry he's doing. Let's just check that out very quick because I want to check these images out. It's you guys know I love my photogrammetry, so anytime we can look at photogrammetry, I want to look. Anyone watching me that's new to my channel, you can go to phildoes3d.com. That's my web address. You can read up on me there, look at some of my gallery of work, all that sort of stuff. Cool. There's some nice shots actually, Smurf. Yeah, some nice photogrammetry work. I like the fire hydrant actually. It's really cool. It'll make a great model. You like your tree trunks? Actually, I'm surprised that it was able to capture these cars the way it did, because generally I can see that there's a lot of problem. Anything reflective, photogrammetry has a real problem with. It's like car paint. But it's all looking very cool. This tree trunk work too. If anyone uses SpeedTree, you can incorporate photogrammetry in SpeedTree now. So you can do some photogrammetry of a tree trunk like Smurfberry's done here, and you can bring that into SpeedTree to create a tree from using photogrammetry. Just wanted to point that out. That's in the new version of SpeedTree, so you must be using the new version 8 of the software. They released it last year, so but it's looking very cool. And like I said, I love the hydrant. I love the texture on the hydrant actually. Very cool. What software are you using here, Smurf? Are you using Metashape or are you using the other one? Sniper Girl says, understandable, would have been ballistic as well, would have thrown a bunch of crap at everybody. I think I would have too if it had been me lying on that gurney for 4 hours. He was just depressed. He didn't want to fight with anyone. He'd been building up in his mind, today's the day, I'm going to have the operation, you know, preparing himself for it to be cancelled. He was just devastated. And the nurses and everything were all very nice, but it doesn't make it any better. Sniper Girl says, thoughts are with you and your friend, thank you. Smurfberry says, I too was surprised at how much of the cars it managed to reconstruct. Yeah, I'm surprised, I really am. Because generally, yeah, anything reflective, photogrammetry has a real problem with. My guess is it was maybe an overcast day, so you're getting some reflection of the clouds in the paintwork, so it gives the photogrammetry software something to latch onto. Either that, or it may be the reflection of the leaves in the car paint. So the problem with car paint and photogrammetry is, or chrome or anything like that, it's generally very flat and very reflective. So that the photogrammetry software doesn't have a lot that it can lock onto to do the triangulation. So it's not so much the material, it's more the reflection that causes the problem, photogrammetry, but it did a pretty decent job, surprisingly. Sniper Girl says to Smurfberry, you like your big wood, right? Oh, so cheeky. You're so cheeky, Sniper Girl. All those are mesh rooms, Smurfberry says. Okay, mesh room, there you go. Sniper Girl says, wow, they were great. Sniper Echo says, that's the laser scanners are better. Yeah, that's right. That's why they use laser scanners a lot. Because it doesn't have that problem. It's actually recording the distance from the laser to the receiver. So it's not like photogrammetry where it takes an image and tries to work out a position in 3D space from an image. The laser's actually feeding location data straight back to the software. So that's why it can do reflections and stuff. LiDAR. Smurfberry says, I want a laser scanner, but the starting price is like 5,000 USD. You can jerry rig your own, you know. It's probably not as good as the proper system, but you can. There is software called David Laser Scanner, DAVID. That does laser scanning. You just need to provide your own laser, which are cheap. Lasers are cheap, actually. You can pick up a laser for $20, a decent laser. So you can do it yourself, but you've got to lug around your notebook with you so you can use your laser and the software at the same time. Not as nice and convenient as an all-in-one thing that you'd buy off the shelf. But it is an option if you do want to play with laser scanning. There's that software, like I said, David Laser Scanner. Smurfberry says, at least I think the units I was looking at used lasers and not just cameras. Smurfberry says, Smurf says, yeah, I did a while back. It does work. Void Source, good to see you. How are you? Void Source says, hi Phil, got a retopology question. Not sure if you can help. Well, let us know. What's your question? I'm not sure if I can help either, but I'm happy to try if I can. And it's good to see you though, Voiceless. Sniper says, for certain things it's awesome, Smurfberry Barbecue. Yeah, for some things it is. Smurfberry says, also yes, that's a big drawback. Even the units I was looking at had to be tethered to a laptop. Yeah, it needs some way to send the data, somewhere to send the data that it's capturing. So it does generally need a laptop. Most of this sort of stuff. Phones aren't good enough for laser scanning that I'm aware of yet. Laser scanning is great, but remember with laser scanning, you're not going to get the textures. You're only going to get the model. So laser scanning, while really useful and really good, if you want a textured model, then photogrammetry is a better way to go, provided it's not reflective like car paint or chrome. Smurfberry says, if I had one, I'd combine the laser point data with my... That's generally what businesses and companies and archaeologists do. They'll use a laser scanner to get the model data, and then they'll take photographs to actually texture. Because remember, with most photogrammetry software now, you don't have to use it to create the model. You can just use it to create the textures. So you import the model, triangulate your cameras, and then get it to actually bake out the texture for you without doing any of the modeling work. You can do that too. If you make your model in photogrammetry software, you can then export the model, take it into a 3D program like Max, Maya, Cinema 4D, Blender, clean the model up, re-import the model again into the photogrammetry software, and then project your textures out. A lot of people do that as well. You've got to be careful though if you're exporting a model and then re-importing it. You can't change your axes or anything like that. Otherwise the texturing stage won't work. Void Source says, when retopologizing faces and such, what is a good rule of thumb for placing faces per side to get good results so that when they meet, there isn't a mismatch? One row less more. So you want to retopologize faces, and you want to know a good rule of thumb for placing faces per side to get good results. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, Void Source. Place faces per side to get a good result so that when they meet, there isn't a mismatch. One row less more. Can you explain a little bit more? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. So are you talking about putting faces on the front side and on the back side? Yeah, I'm just not sure. Ian says, what do you use for meshing around with point cloud data? Well, Ian, I use reality capture. The best software for actually messing with your point cloud data for editing it is Agisoft Metashape. That's, of all the software I've used, and I've used a few different pieces of software to do photogrammetry, that has the best tools to actually, in program, to alter your point cloud. After that, I would say reality capture, and then after that, context capture. Context capture, you really get no tools to actually alter your point cloud. Metashape, you get the most tools. Reality capture, you get some tools, but Metashape is the best for actually altering the point cloud. But again, with the point cloud, you can export that data, bring it into your 3D program, edit it there, and then re-export it and bring it back into the photogrammetry software. So for an all-in-one tool where you don't have to mess around exporting and importing, Agisoft Metashape gives you the most options. If you don't mind using a third-party 3D program, then any of them will be okay, because you're going to do it all in your 3D program anyway. Sniper says, wow, no mention of ZBrush there. ZBrush, come on. Sniper says, sponsorship must have ended for the channel. That's right. Pixologic aren't sponsoring me anymore, so no more ZBrush talk. No, they never sponsored me. You guys know I hate ZBrush. I hate the interface. I love the software. Void Source says, sometimes when I'm doing the front side of the face, okay, and when I end up going forwards and and backside, and then start to do the sides, I have one row less or more. Okay, so you're doing the front side, and when you end up going towards the back side, and then start to do the other sides, you have one row less or more. What software are you using to do your retopology? Maybe let's jump back a step. So, what software are you doing retopology in? I think I get what you're asking. I'm just trying to work out what software you're using so I can get an idea of how you're doing it. Smokeberry says, I've heard that both Metashape and Meshroom can import a model for texture projection, but I've not tried that workflow yet. I build the model in Meshroom Metashape, export the retopology UV and modeling program, and export it back into Meshroom Metashape to project the texture. I'm pretty sure most photogrammetry software allows you to do that now. I know Reality Capture does. I know Context Capture does. I haven't actually done it in Metashape, but I know it is in there. Like I said, the only thing you got to be careful if you're going to do that is make sure you don't alter the axes of the model at all. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to work it out. Ian says, cool, thanks. Don't use Metashape since it was called Photoscan several versions ago. Yeah, it used to be called Agisoft Photoscan. Now it's called Agisoft Metascan. I don't know why they renamed it. I got no idea. Maybe they thought Metashape sounded better than Photoscan. Photoscan sounded fine to me, but anyway, what do I know? But I don't actually use that software anymore. I use Reality Capture. It gives a better result, and it's GPU accelerated, so you get your result it's the fastest I've ever used. Because sometimes if you've got a large photo set of like 100 or 200 photos, Metashape can take a while. So what will take Metashape, as an example, an hour to do, will take about 10 minutes in Reality Capture because it uses the GPU. And it gives you a really nice result too. Okay, Void Source says I'm using Blender. All right. A Sniper uses Blender as well. I use Max. Sniper says, Void Source, could you maybe drop an image in Discord as an example? Yeah, that would be great. Are you on the Discord server, Void Source? If you're not, just click the link I'm popped into chat here. You don't have to install the app to get onto Discord. You can do it all through the web browser. So if you can pop an image on the Discord server there, because only subs can post images on Twitch chat, so post an image on the Discord server and we can get a better idea of maybe what you're talking about. Because I do want to try and help you. I'm just not completely sure. I think I understand what you mean. Again, I don't use Blender, and generally for my retopology I use ZBrush. Oh, ZBrush. Yeah, generally I'll retopologize in ZBrush. I've used a few different programs to do retopology. It just depends on the model, but yeah. Any time I can use an automated tool to do it, I prefer to do that than do it by hand. I know that you're going to get a better result doing it by hand, but yeah. Sniper Gill says, the Void Source, are you keeping consistent edge flow on your retopology? Good question. Yeah, it probably will depend a lot on the model as well that you're actually trying to retopologize. Smurfberry says, I think for retopology, edge flow it just comes down to thinking about it in advance. If you plan your flow out, you'll be less likely to run into surprises. Smurfberry says, surprises like that time I accidentally made a spiral loop around it. Obviously. Yeah, retopology is a bit of a dark art as well. To get it done right. My apologies for being a bit distracted, guys. You know what work are like. They're always constantly emailing me. If they're not emailing me, they're phoning me on my mobile. They always tend to pick when I'm streaming to do it. Smurfer says surprises like that. Sniper Girl says I use Maya, not Blender. Yeah, and I use Max. Sniper Echo says, or do you? Let's check out the van though that Sniper Girl posted images of, because it looks sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I can't show the 360 ones, unfortunately, but you did post a couple of renders here that look very nice, so let's have a look at them. So again, this is the van, the post-apocalyptic van that Sniper Girl has been working on. I'll just post a second link and then we can check them out. Let me zoom in here. That looks so nice. You've done such a great job, you really have. I can see all the work you put into it. The texturing work looks great. All the detailing and the modelling, it looks super awesome. You've really done a nice job. Yeah, a very nice job. Solar panels look really cool on the roof. Now she's done the inside as well, so I'll throw a couple of inside images in too, because she's done just as great a job on the interior as she has on the exterior. So yeah, again, really nice work. Nice texturing. It's taken, you know, you put a lot of work into it. I think she's thinking of selling it as well online, so. Have you decided where you're going to sell it, Sniper Girl? Are you going to put it on ArtStation, on their store? Sniper Girl says the void source, are you keeping consistent? Oh, sorry, let me catch up here. Android Lust. Android Lust, it's good to see you, buddy. How are you? How's things, Android Lust? My apologies, guys, again, for not being able to stream Wednesday last week because of the hospital thing, and the operation is tomorrow, so I may take tomorrow off as well, I think. But I am sorry, but my friend comes first. I want to be there to support him, because it's a tough time for him. It comes before everything. Work know that I'm just not available or contactable while I'm there trying to support my friend. So, but it's good to see you, Android Lust. Sniper Girl says, was 3 to 4 months worth of work and thinking everywhere and anywhere. Well, it shows. This is what I mean. If you put the work into it, you get the result. A lot of people want instant results in this day and age. It's like, you know, I can't be bothered putting the work in. I just want the result. But if you put the work in, you get amazing. I love this torn paper as well. That looks really cool. The paper tearing away from the ceiling here. That's so cool. Just the newspaper that you've used here to line the walls is such a great idea. It just looks really cool. The Christmas lights, again, look really cool. Amazing, amazing job. I like that you've dirtied up the pillowcases as well. They're not clean. They're nice and dirty. The fan is a great idea too. It looks really good, really good. Void Source says, so I started with the face, go to the top. Okay, you start with the face, you go to the top, and then the back side, which gives me the same amount of columns. But sometimes when I start to do the sides, going either from the back to the front, through the sides, I end up with one or more, which could create tris in a quad mesh. Okay, so if you're going from the front to the back, you're saying you're okay. It's when you try and do the sides, you're starting to have a problem. You posted the image in Discord, I'll check it out. It's not a problem, Android Dust. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys understand. I've got the best viewers on Twitch. You guys are super awesome and understanding, and I do appreciate it. Sniper Echo says to Sniper Girl, your corrugated iron is far superior to Marvel Spider-Man. Far from home film in cinemas. I actually haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies. Or the new one. Sniper Girl says, should see the 360 render in my art station. You guys check out Sniper Girl's art station, check the 360 render out. Sniper Girl says, newspaper are detailed enough that you can read it. That's cool. So you can actually read the newspaper on the walls. That's so cool. You put your business card in as well, didn't you? You were going to put a business card in somewhere. I think that was a great idea. Android Dust says to Sniper Girls, killing that project, good way, looking super awesome idiots. Android Dust says to Sniper Echo, early what? Sniper says, Android Dust, where's my ban hammer? Okay, I just want to check out this retopology that the void source is talking about. Oh, I see the one that's coming up next, Mercury, this tree trunk. It looks really sweet. I love trees. I love old trees. I just get it going off tangent here because, you know, it wouldn't be a full stream if I didn't go off tangent. Old trees. I love old trees. I love gnarly tree trunks. That's why I got into being an environment artist. I love all that sort of stuff. And that tree trunk you posted looks very cool. But I want to check out void sources. Okay, let me have a look here. Let's open up this link. But very nice work, Sniper Girl, on the model. Okay, so you've got quite an organic looking model here to begin with. So I was imagining straight surfaces and hard surface, that sort of thing, when you were talking about doing your retopology. Okay, so you're going this way, you're okay. It's when you start to come around this way, you're having a problem. Yeah? Well, for this sort of model, I wouldn't go this way. I would go this way to begin with and then do the top. So I wouldn't go from bottom to top. I would start my retopology by going around the sides and then add to my retopology on the top that way. You're going to have a less of a problem, I think. Sniper Girl says, damn, forgot the business card, going to add it to the scene and render part of it. Yeah, do the business card, because the business card was a really cool idea. I love it. I love that idea. I think it's super, super cool. And Nightbot's spamming my links as usual. So yeah, void source. Have you tried going around the outside? Like, get your retopology around this line and like between here and here. Do retopology right around the outside that way, and then try to add your retopology on the top and through the bottom bit. You might find it's easier to do it that way. You shouldn't have a problem. Void Source says, but what is good rule of thumb as far as rows or columns to use to begin with, so I don't end up with having way too many? Well, if you're going for, I'm assuming you're retopologizing because you want to get a low res mesh out of this high res sculpt. That's, I'm assuming, what you're trying to do. So the fewer the rows and columns, the less problem you're going to have with getting them to match up properly. When you start adding more rows and columns, then you could start to run into this issue that you're talking about, where you're having a problem getting them to line up. So the minimum amount will really depend on the model you're trying to retopologize. It says there's no rule that says this amount for every model. It really depends on the model. But you want to keep it as low as you possibly can, particularly if you're creating a low res mesh for a high res bake. Although do bear in mind, guys and girls, I've mentioned this before, a lot of times when people think I've got a high res model, I want to bake out normal for a low res model that I can use in my game. I'll make it as low res as I can. If it's too low res, you're not going to get a good bake. It needs some geometry for the normal map bake. So sometimes too low can be just as bad as too high. I just want to mention that because I've seen working in the studios, a lot of guys and girls have a problem with their baking, and the reason they've had a problem is because their low res mesh has been too low. There isn't enough vertices for the program to do a bake, because it's based on, even the low res mesh, it bases it around the verts, and if there aren't enough verts, then it can't do the bake properly. I've seen it all the time on hard surface models that are flat. So basically, you've got your flat plane, let's call it, I don't know, you got a door, and people put two triangles to make up a door. They try and bake that out as their low res mesh for their game, but they've got this high res mesh that's all detailed maybe. There aren't enough vertices between those two triangles to get a proper bake. So you actually have to make your low res mesh a little bit higher res before you can get a good bake out of it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but that's just the way it is. You don't go too high res, but you know, two tries is not going to be high enough. So yeah, I can't really give you a good rule of thumb as to how many. It depends on the mesh, but you want to try and keep it as low as possible, at least on the initial retopologized, so that you don't have those problems with them lining up, matching up. Yeah. This is, again, I'm not familiar with Blender, but this is your retopology you're doing here in the yellow. That seems very, very weird for a retopology here. Just the shape of that. These look good. They're more square. More, you know, these ones are starting to look a little strange. I don't know why the software is actually creating it looking like that. It should be more square-ish. It doesn't have to be completely square, but that seems very distorted. Sniper Echo says the Sniper Girl actually found one image with the Marvel iron in it, posted it in Discord. Sniper Girl says, oh wow. Sniper Echo Voice Source says, hey, that's just a feature in Blender to show, okay, how it curves around the actual model. You can turn it, okay, cool, okay. That was something I was just not sure of to begin with, but if you're, okay, I understand. Okay, so yeah, I'd keep it as few as possible. It's hard to give you a number because it depends on the model. For this model, I'd do the out around the edge first, so that, you know, around this way before I worry about doing the top and the bottom. I wouldn't go up, over like here. I'd go around and then I'd add on top and on bottom for this particular model. Sniper Echo says that's how I see it. Sniper Girl says, well, be honest, wish the corrugated metal. I was heavily inspired by sculpt texture work from a texture artist that worked at Naughty Dog. There you go. Can't go wrong if you're copying somebody that worked at Naughty Dog. They make the best games, the most beautiful games I've actually ever seen. Their environment artists are just, the work they do is beautiful. Beautiful. And they make really great games too. So I don't own a PlayStation, unfortunately, so I can't play a lot of their titles, but yeah, there you go. I'd love to. They should release more stuff on PC. Naughty Dog. Android Lust says to Void Source, it does depend on the model, but for the initial loop, I always use an even number of polys for the loop, though. Well, there you go. An even number of polygons is Android Lust's advice. And that makes sense, I guess. You're going to have less problems with an even number than an odd number. It's going to be easier to match it up with an even number. I'm sorry I can't be more help, Void Source. Sniper Girl says was what I was inspired from. Let me have a look. I want to have a look at this ArtStation link. Max Golisi. Ah, very nice. He's done some nice work. And he's a texture artist at Naughty Dog, so of course he's done nice work. Worked on Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is beautifully done as well. The environment work in that game is just amazing. Yeah, again, some of the best environments work I've ever seen in Uncharted and in that other game. The Last of Us. Those two games are beautiful, beautiful environment work. Yes, some nice texturing work as well. Well, I think for your inspiration, you came up, you did quite well, Sniper Girl. I haven't done any corrugated work for years. Actually, the last thing I worked on using corrugated iron was that Mad Max game. Yeah, that would be the last time I used corrugated iron in a model that I was making was for Mad Max. Void Source says to Android Lost, thanks, I'll try to keep that in mind. Yeah, that's good advice that Android Lost gave about keeping it to an even number. And I am sorry I could not be more help, Void Source, but yeah, keep it to an even number, do the body before you do the top and the bottom. It might make it easier. Sniper Girl says, we'll be honest, apologising, I'm okay with triangles. Well, again, I want to point this out because I know a lot of you guys and girls like to make games, computer games. You know, you want to make a game. Or you want to play with an editor like Unreal or Unity or whatever. So you're importing your models into a game engine. Every game engine, every game engine, at least at the moment, uses triangles. They do not use quads. So it's going to triangulate your beautiful quad mesh as soon as you import it into a game engine anyway, because that's the way the rasterization engines work. Now that may change with ray tracing. When ray tracing becomes more popular, they may change rasterization or drop it. And then quads will be more important. But at the moment, making a nice quad mesh, if you're going to import it into a game, is useless because it's going to triangulate it as soon as it imports it. So I just wanted to point that out because I mentioned it before. I know it's nice to have a nice quad mesh where all your edge loops are nice and laid out, all that sort of thing. It's really important, particularly if you're doing a character model, it's got to be animated. If you're doing hard surface stuff though, particularly, it's going to be triangulated. So I would not stress about nice quads to begin with. If it's a hard surface environment piece of stuff you're bringing into a game engine. So I'm okay with triangles as well, Sniper Girl. Sniper Echo says, Phil, what do you think about the iron in the image on Discord? Okay, let me have a look. What am I looking at here? You're talking about this ironwork here. What is this from? What movie is this from? Okay, well, the ironwork, it's hard for me to say because it's blurred. I don't know if it's blurred because it's collapsing. That's maybe what I'm assuming. If it's not collapsing and that's just the way the ironwork is in a still, I can't even say its depth of field. It just looks blurred to me. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a bit blurry. I'm assuming it's blurry because it's in motion, maybe. Like this city is collapsing around, so. Mr. Squarepeg, it's good to see you. Welcome to Phil Does 3D Stream. And Mr. Squarepeg, thank you for following the channel as well. I do appreciate it, guys, when you follow me on Twitch, so thank you for the follow, Mr. Squarepeg. I love the username too, by the way. Andrew Lust says to Void Source, what are you doing retopology on? I missed that before. Sniper Girl says pretty much. Andrew Lust says, I love the beautiful quad mesh. Sniper Girl says, honestly, the latest Unreal can use ray tracing and it still converts to triangles. Well, it's because it's still based on rasterization. They're only using ray tracing for things like ambient occlusion and reflection. There is one other thing that I can't remember right off the top of my head that uses ray tracing. So ray tracing is only used for a very, very small part of the visual. Rasterization is still used for most of the game. That'll change once ray tracing gets the hardware starts improving. So, you know, give it a few years maybe. You see that NVIDIA have released their super range of cards. I told you guys they were going to do a refresh. I told you! And they're going to release a new 3000 series cards next year. So this series, this first generation RTX cards, they have a very short lifespan, which is why I said to you, don't buy into RTX. If you've got a video card at the moment that's decent, so, you know, like in the 900 or the 10 Pascal series, you don't need to upgrade to the 20 series of NVIDIA, because they're going to release a new 30 series next year. So, Mr. Square Peg says I use a quad mesh just for organization reasons. Look, quad meshes are a good way to model. A nice quad mesh is a good way to model. I'm not saying it's not. All I'm saying is if when you bring it into your game engine, it's going to be triangulated, because that's just the way it is. So don't stress about your quads too much if you're making stuff for games. But a nice quad mesh is always a good thing. I'm not saying it's not. Mr. Square Peg says, hey to Android Lust. The Sniper Echo says, yep, that's the iron. That's from Spider-Man Far From Home. Okay. Well, like I said, if this is if this iron is still in the shot, it's not moving, then I say that this looks a bit weird to me. I don't know why it's so blurred. If in this shot this iron is falling, that's a different kettle of fish, because there will be some blur, some motion blur. It's hard for me to judge the iron work though, because it's blurred. I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to say it's terrible. It's just hard to tell. Smurfberry says, everybody knows Mr. Square Peg. Am I the only one that doesn't? Smurfberry says, if ray tracing could hurry up and become mainstream, that'd be great. No more of this fake translucent bollocks. Real translucency and transparency to make my mutant plant life easier. Hey, listen, ray tracing will be a thing, a major thing, but it's just going to take a while. NVIDIA priced their video cards very expensively, the first generation. You know that AMD have just released their new range of video cards. They don't do ray tracing at all. So it's going to take a couple of years for ray tracing to become mainstream. And now all of the next generation consoles, so the next Xbox and the next PlayStation, they are going to have ray tracing support. When they're released, then you're going to start to see a lot more ray tracing in games. Because developers they develop for a console, then they port it to the PC. But at the moment, the only platform that does real-time ray tracing is the PC. There's a small percentage of people that have the video cards that can actually run it. So the new 2020 series video cards from NVIDIA. So it's going to take a while. Developers are not going to make games based on ray tracing. If only a very small percentage of people can use it. Now they can do stuff like they did with the Metro game, where they give you the option to turn it on if you have a card with ray tracing. That's possible, but yeah. And it's not that putting ray tracing in a game is necessarily difficult. It's not if you're using an engine like Unreal. I don't know about Unity. I haven't looked at Unity, but in Unreal, it's relatively easy to introduce real-time ray tracing for the ambient occlusion, for the reflection, all that sort of stuff. Although even with Unreal, they're still working on the implementation of that. I believe it still doesn't work properly with foliage. So the next version of Unreal, the 4.23, I think, because it's 4.22 at the moment, I believe they've fixed the foliage problem with ray tracing, but that hasn't been released yet, the new version of Unreal. So. the Unreal editor, I should say. But it certainly will make life easier, Smurfberry, for sure. Mr. Sniper Girl says, all I'm saying is if triangles piss at anybody off, people shouldn't see this post Vikram types. Mr. Squarepeg says, hey Phil, got a question. What are your thoughts on Epic Games' new physics? Oh, I think it's amazing. It is amazing, Mr. Squarepeg. He's talking about Chaos, the Chaos engine in the Unreal Engine. I watched a video actually on YouTube over the weekend on it. It is amazing, amazing. I am so stoked to be using that. It's not in the engine yet. You can't actually use it. It's a preview that Unreal, that the Epic guys did at the latest GDC, I think. It looks amazing, amazing. Oh, I can't wait to play games using that Chaos physics. It just looks amazing. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, jump on Epic Games YouTube channel and check out the Chaos engine. It just is amazing. The guys, the programmers that worked on it, just an amazing job. And actually, I looked at they did an overview of the art tools, and the art tools also look amazing. Because sometimes implementing physics, if you're not a programmer, it can be a bit of a mind warp for artists. But it looks like Epic Games, as is usual, because everything that they do for the Unreal Engine, they always consider the artist, and they make good art tools. The art tools look great as well. So it's not going to be super complex for artists to get their head around to actually use. And the results are just incredible. Like I said, playing a game where you've got full-on destruction like that's just going to be amazing. Amazing. So I love it, Mr. Squarepeg. I think it's amazing, and I can't wait to start playing with it. Sniper says it's still in the shot. Sniper says wrong scale, weird glossy reflections. I'll keep an eye out for a better image when it's posted. Yeah, again, I looked at it and it just doesn't look great. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but yeah, there's something about it that's not right. But again, it's blurred, so I can't really even tell properly. It's a blurry image of the raw dome. Just because it's a big budget film doesn't mean that they didn't crap out on the special effects. I've seen that many times, even with big budget films. Well, look at Lord of the Rings. We've spoken about that before. Some of the effects in Lord of the Rings are just terrible. Even though it's a great movie. Some of those effects are bad. The shots was on the films. Mr. Squarepeg says the next Xbox and PlayStation 5 will have ray tracing powered by AMD hardware. AMD has it working. Yeah, they do. AMD's, even though the video cards AMD have just released do not have real-time ray tracing, the stuff that they're working on for the next PlayStation and Xbox will have real-time ray tracing. So, sorry, Mr. Squarepeg says just not on current hardware. Oh, okay. PC hardware, Mr. Squarepeg says. Sniper Girl says to Phil, I disagree. The next gen console, PS4 and Xbox, talked about ray tracing support. Did they? On the current gen consoles you're talking about? That'd be interesting. I wonder how they're going to do that. Because they don't have, I'm assuming they don't have the dedicated hardware like Nvidia do on their graphics cards to do real time. They must be doing it through software, some sort of emulation, which is going to be slow. Void Source says to Android Lust, send you a whisper. Mr. Squarepeg says Unity does not have ray tracing and won't have it until the end of the year. Well, there you go. I didn't know that about Unity. But again, I use UE4. Android Lust says I'm about to check that out. Oh, do check it out, Android Lust. It's amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. We're talking about chaos, real-time physics in Unreal. It's just amazing. I was blown away when I watched the videos. It just looks amazing. Mr. Squarepeg says, so they talked about network physics with chaos at GDC. Yes, network physics. That's right. Won't that be cool? Can you imagine the sort of game you could play with that sort of mechanic in the gameplay? It is amazing. I agree, Mr. Squarepeg. It looks amazing. I was blown away. You guys should check it out. Go get on the Epic Games YouTube channel, check out Chaos Physics. It's not in the engine yet, but it's coming to the engine in the next version. At least in What do they call it when they introduce stuff into the engine before they make it mainstream? It's like an experimental feature, I think. That'll be available in 4.23. Sniper Girl says, I said the wrong thing. PS5. That's what I was getting confused. You're confusing me, Sniper Girl. Come on. You are confusing me. Yeah, I didn't think it was in the current gen real-time ray tracing, but I did know that they're going to put it in the PS5 and the next Xbox. Whatever Microsoft decide to call the next Xbox. Sniper Ricker says, amazing. Are we talking ZBrush again? Oh. You get the stink eye. I won't give you the full slap, but I'll give you the stink eye. That's for you, Sniper Ricker. Mr. Squarepeg says also AI will be able to use the chunks of rubble from buildings as cover. Yeah, again, that was really cool. The pathing, the AI can actually work the pathing out and, like you said, use actually parts of the fallen physics debris as a cover system. It's just incredible. That and the fact too that you can destroy the lower sections of a building and the top sections will automatically collapse. All that sort of stuff is really cool. Really cool. But I was more interested in the art tools that they've created to actually allow us to actually make that stuff. As an artist, I'm interested in how hard it's going to be for me to actually use, and the art tools also looked absolutely amazing. Sniper says the most abused mod on Twitch here. Mr. Squarepeg says the art looks art tools do look amazing. And Void Source says that sounds like a lot of Battlefield. A lot of like Battlefield where they can destroy buildings. Yeah, it is, but it's the next level destruction. I have never seen physics destruction like the chaos physics in Unreal in this that I saw in that video. It's next level amazing stuff. I mean, you can bake in your physics, like you can do that now. You can use a 3D program to destroy your building. You bake that out, and you can import that into a game engine and have it replay that. So you can get that look now by running a pre-baked sequence of destruction, but it's not interactive like Chaos is, where it's all fully interactive. As we've said, AI can use it chunks for cover. That sort of thing. I've never seen it done like I saw in that video. It's just incredible. The fact that that's all happening in real time is just amazing. They've done an amazing job. But it is like Battlefield, I think. Although I don't play Battlefield Void Source. Mr. Squarepeg says, my only concern with Chaos is that all the meshes that you use with it need to be watertight manifold. It's always pretty much been like that, I think, though, with even the old physics, the current physics in the Unreal Engine. I'm pretty sure your mesh has to be watertight too, to slice it up before you slice it up for physics. That's the other thing, really cool thing about the Chaos was they're going to give you different noise patterns that you can use to do your destruction. So you don't have to, the old days of physics, you used to have to slice your mesh up prior to actually creating a physics object. Now you just apply these different noises to the object and the engine will automatically slice up your mesh for you to paste into different patterns depending on the noise that you're using, the noise pattern, which is again very cool. Sniper says, you sure that was you, Sniper Girl? Was it not Smurfberry or Sniper Echo? Josh can't even remember her name. Wow, you guys are so cheeky. You are so cheeky, all of you. You all deserve a slap. Josh, that's right, Josh can't remember your names. Josh doesn't know who you are from Barra Soap, doesn't know any of me. Then Josh doesn't know his own mods. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, please, you used to do the full slap on me at least once a stream. You're both going to get a slap. You both deserve a full slap. It's been a while since I've done one, so there you go. Sniper Girl says, sure, used to be my goal was to get at least one full slap per stream. Mr. Squarepeg says, may I post a link? It's about the chaos physics. You can, but not in the Twitch chat, Mr. Squarepeg. Only subs can post in Twitch chat, but jump on the Discord server. there's a good group of guys and girls. I've just popped a link there in chat. Just click that link and join the Discord server. You don't have to install the Discord app. You can browse the server through your web browser. So post it in. You can certainly post a link there in the Discord server in the general chat, because I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in looking at it. I think it's amazing. Chaos is amazing. Yes, exclamation Discord will give you the link as well. So yep, Discord posted, cool. So yes, Mr. Squarepeg has posted a link to the Chaos engine in the Discord server, guys. So check it out. It's amazing. The demo video that they made was really nicely done too. I really liked the design that they did for that as well, where they have the robots zipping around everywhere and the big mech that shoots the building down. It was a cool looking demo. But yeah, I expect nothing less of Epic Games. They always make really cool stuff. Sniper says to Josh doesn't know his own name. Oh. You guys realise I've been talking for an hour and I've done nothing yet. I have done nothing apart from chat. Let's just open up Max in the background so I've got something to show people as to what I will be working on in a minute. Mod abuse. Sniper Girl says Android Lust says to Mr. Squarepeg, you have to post a link in Discord. Nightbot will remove it. Yes. Don't post links in Twitch chat unless you're a sub. Mr. Squarepeg said, got it. Yeah, my apologies if you posted a link and it was removed. Mr. Squarepeg, just subs can post links in Twitch chat. Everyone can post links in the Discord server. And if you join the Discord server, there's like a cooldown. It's about 10 minutes, I think, between when you join and when you can post. That's simply to stop it from being spammed. But if you're in my chat and you want to post immediately, you can't wait 10 minutes, let me know and I can mod you. I can make you a member immediately. So just thought I'd point that out too. There is a 10-minute cooldown period from when you join my Discord server to when you can post something in the chat on Discord. Mr. Squarepeg says it's from Intel, but it has a list of tools coming with Chaos. I'll check that out because I haven't seen this article. I watched the one that Epic Games did at GDC, and they posted it about a month ago, where they had the devs talking about the tools and actually giving a bit of a demo of the Chaos physics. But I do know that Intel worked closely with Epic Games on implementing Chaos physics, so they want to take full advantage of all of the CPU cores, so Intel worked closely with Epic Games as well. You're in tears, Sniper Echo says. What's this clip? I'm not going to look at this clip. I'll just put this here. Okay, we'll check that out later, Sniper Echo. Hate to think. Sniper Echo says Sniper Girl team effort. Sniper Girl says, and we're mods. Void Source says, okay, so watching the Chaos building, I can clearly tell you it's a lot like the Frostbite engine that they use in the Battlefield games. They even have the ability to bring down the entire skyscraper in Battlefield 4. Again, I don't play Battlefield. I've never played a Battlefield game. I mean, I've watched people play it, but I've never played one. I do know that I've seen some destruction in Battlefield, so you could be right. Although I've never seen the amount of detail that the Chaos Physics engine produced in that trailer, in that demo. In Battlefield, do they give you that much debris? Is it that detailed, or is it just more of a general collapse? Void Source says they are in Battlefield 5 at the moment. Sniper says that clip is safe, just vivid. Okay, I'll check it out in a minute. Void Source says I can give you a link so that you can see how they bring down the entire skyscraper, and you should see Battlefield 5, and yes, it's very detailed. Pop the link, Void Source, in the Discord server. Don't do it in the Twitch chat, but yeah, pop a link in the Discord server. We can check it out. What is this clip? Am I going to regret this? I might look at it off screen, just to be honest. although I trust Sniper Echo. I'm just going to pull this over here and have a look. Just going to mute that as well. Look, I'm never going to watch anything but it's me. Actually, it looks like my my green screen looks a little weird. I know what that is. I'm going to fix that right now. 2 secs, guys. I made some adjustments to my my camera's chroma key. And it looks like I might have gone a bit too high. I'm looking a bit speckly. That should be better. It's not hugely, just in my black chair here, I'm noticing a bit of speckle. That's because I've made an adjustment to my chroma key. Oh dear. You guys, and your clipping of me. Is my chair still speckling? Is there still speckles happening in the background? I'm just curious if pulling it down has fixed it. You guys didn't tell me. It's just me. I'm a bit of an OCD going on whenever anything isn't completely right. The reason I changed the filter too is because I want to try and get rid of that. Sometimes with a green screen, particularly with my hair, you can get like a halo happening around your hair. Okay. Void Source has posted this video of the collapse in Battlefield 4. I want to check this out. So I'm just going to have a look at this. We can all check it out at the same time because why not? So this is destruction in Battlefield 4, building destruction. I'm just going to I want to look at it to do a comparison to Unreal's Chaos. Where's the destruction? Where's the destruction? Is there a shot where they show a building collapse from a distance? I don't really want to watch somebody play their game. Oh, you see what I mean? This destruction, that's very clunky. It's destruction, but it's nothing like the Chaos destruction. Is there another example of a building collapse here? That's why I was so blown away by what I saw with Chaos in Unreal. It just was amazing. But this is Battlefield 4. This has been out for a while, hasn't it, this game? I'm just trying to scroll through here and see if I can see any other building collapses. I've actually seen this video before. I remember this. That's exactly what I meant by vivid Phil. Sniper Echo says. Sniper says the audio etc. is just a bonus. What was going on with the audio? I didn't listen to it because I don't want feedback happening through my mic and stuff. Is my audio off? Are you saying my audio's off? You're making me paranoid, Sniper Echo. Is my audio okay? Or is there a problem with my audio? I didn't change anything on the audio, so it should be okay. Unless it's the music going in the background you're talking about. Void Source says I posted the video. If you go to 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Yeah, again, this destruction is cool, but Chaos destruction in the new engine, it just looks amazing, much better than that. That looks very, very. I don't know. Yeah, it looks fine, but not as good as Epic's destruction. This looks amazing. Check out the video. Sniper says, not as bad now, Phil, but the audio in that clip is distorted or something. Is it? The audio is distorted, or have you done something to the audio? You're making me paranoid. Is my audio okay, or is my audio distorted, guys? I rely on you to tell me, because I mean, you're the ones listening to me. Let me have a look. That's why you posted it. Void Source says go through, but you can go through the entire floors. Chaos can do destruction, but not sure if you can go through all the building per floor. I'm not sure either. They didn't mention anything like that, Void Source, so I'd be interested to know as well whether you can go through the floors using Chaos. Mr. Squarepeg says, yeah, it's been out for a while, and Frostbite uses Havoc. Name a Yellow Fruit. And Name a Yellow Fruit says, I'm still mad at Autodesk for removing Havoc from 3D Studio Max. Yeah, they did that quite a while ago. They removed that from Max. Mr. Squarepeg says to name a Yellow Fruit. Yeah, the same. I agree, Mr. Yellow Fruit. I'm mad at that too. Sniper Girl says, are we eventually going to do 3D, or are you changing your name to Phil Just Chats? I know. Because I've got to get this model done, because I've got to start moving on to that game, to start working on the game again. But Sniper Echo's got me paranoid now that there's something wrong with my audio. Audio's okay on your end, Mr. Squarepeg says. Good. Android Dust says audio's fine for me. You sound great, Phil, Sniper says. Okay, good. Fine for me too, Sniper Girl says. Well, that's all good. Okay, I'm going to trust you guys and say my audio is fine. I didn't mess with my audio, so it should be fine. All right, let's do some work, shall we? Texturing up. What are we going to texture up next? Just let me select something so Max has something to lock on to when I do my rotation. What will we work on next? We were working on this stone piece that sits inside the pond here, last week. And I think we can probably reuse this smart material that we created for this on the other column tops. So we might do that. What we're going to do is we'll just alter the offset a little bit on the textures, so we create something that looks a bit different from each other. And what I'll probably end up doing is making 2 or 3 different versions that we can just start alternating around these column tops, because we don't want them all to be the same, because people will notice. Maybe we probably get away with 2 versions, because we can just rotate the columns a little bit to hide the fact we're reusing the texture. So let's do that. Let's choose something. We could either work on the columns, we could work on these decorative pieces. Let's work on the columns. Let's do that. I'm just going to jump into isolation mode here so that we don't have the rest of it distracting us. I want to double check the UV mapping on this, so I'm just going to throw down an unwrap and we'll have a look at the UV mapping. Not terrible. What I actually think I'll do is I'm just going to throw a checker pattern down. That'll give me a better idea of how it's being UV mapped. Sniper says that seems to have cleared up. I don't know what you're talking about, Sniper. What you talking about, Sniper? My audio should be fine. I made no changes to my audio. It was just my camera. I made some changes to the chroma key. I'm just going to throw down this checker pattern because I want to check my UV mapping. Okay, now I'm already noticing here a couple of areas that I don't like. So we're going to re-UV map this. I'm going to send it over to Rhizome UV. There we go. Thinking, what you doing? Let us re-UV map this. Actually, just before I re-UV map it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an optimize on it. So I'm going to optimize the mesh. I think it might be a little bit higher than we actually need. Come on, Max. Oh. So let us do a pro optimize. I'm not going to keep the textures because we're going to be re-UV mapping it anyway. I am going to merge the verts though. Yeah, that's a bit high. I don't think we need it to be quite that high. So let's take it back to 20%. Let's take it back to 20%. There we go. You see, we didn't really lose any definition at all. Let's see if we can take it down to 10%. Actually, let's compromise and let's go 15%. That still gives us the detail we want, but it's reduced the mesh by quite a lot. So I'm just going to collapse the stack. That probably means we're going to have to duplicate this mesh around the outside and replace them because it's going to change everything about the mesh. So now we can send it over to Rhizome and UV map it. Okay, it's just complaining because Rhizome wants it to be an edit poly, not an edit mesh. That's better. Okay, let's have a look at some of these tools here to see which one is going to work for us the best way. We're going to get a result with this one, but I think that's the one we used before. I didn't like the way it broke the mesh up. Let's try the pelt mapping one. Okay, now I think what I'm going to actually end up doing here, none of these automated tools on the whole mesh are really going to give us what we want. They're going to do really strange cuts in different spots. So I think the best way to handle this mesh is going to be to do it bit by bit. So we'll start with the top here. I'm just going to isolate that part of the mesh. Yeah, again, I don't like the way it's done a cut there. I don't like the way it's doing a cut there. I like this. The cuts are happening along the edges. That's always a better result. So let's do an unwrap on this piece here. Let's throw a checker down so we can check that. That looks fine. We're getting a little bit of distortion just on the corners here, on the rounded corner, but that's fine. We can work with that. Aside from that, everything else is pretty even. So let's jump back out of isolation mode and move on to the next piece. Again, that's fine. Back out of isolation. To the next piece. Oh, let me go back into the right mode here. Okay, now this one is I did not like that at all, so let's choose something else. That should probably work for what we want. It's a weird sort of shaped piece of geometry, so let's jump out of isolation mode. Back to this piece. Again, this is a weird piece, so we're going to use that same tool we used last time, this one here. And again, that should work. We do have a cut line here, but We're not going to be able to avoid doing a cut in the corners. It looks even enough, it should be fine. Let's move on to the next piece. This one I'm going to jump back to this mode, I think it was. Yep. And the last piece, so we have a few pieces here. Let's select them all and see if we can do them all at the same time. Yeah, again, that's not giving us a good result. Let's try this one. And that's given us a better result. That should be fine. Let us show everything and just do a repack on everything as well. Nope, let me undo that. I did the wrong thing. I hit the wrong button. I want to hit this repack down here. Just doesn't look like it did a proper pack there. I'm not sure why. What have I missed? I've missed something. Where is that piece? It's showing a piece of geometry here that I can't see in the mesh. Where is that? It looks like I might have a piece of geometry inside the model that shouldn't be there. I'm just going to quickly jump back into Max and check this model piece. Going to go into wireframe mode. I'm not seeing that. That is just weird. No, there is no piece in there that shouldn't be. Very strange. We'll jump back into Ryzen. I'm just going to isolate this piece. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, I'm going to map it and we'll send it back over. We'll take it from there. This one, that should be good. It's very strange. Let's just do a repack. That's just so our textile density stays the same on all of our pieces. Looks like there might be something weird still going on. I'm still getting over. It's overlapping here. It should not be overlapping my pieces. Why are you doing that? That's better. Now they're all non-overlapping, which is what I want. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of stretching on the corners, but it should be okay. I'm just checking the texel density. I think our texel density, just a couple of spots here that are looking a little weird. Look, I think the easiest way for us to check this is I'm going to send it back over to Max. We have our texture, our checkered texture on there anyway. Difficult to tell, but I think it should be alright. What we'll do is we're going to send it over to Substance Painter. I'm going to throw down that smart material and we're going to see if we're having any issues. That's the best way to tell will be actually when it gets a proper texture on it. So let's do that. Let me assign a plain color back to it. And we can send it over to Substance Painter. It's going to complain the first time. You guys know it always complains. We just do it again and it will be fine. I'm just using that pre-plugin that you can download from Algorithmic's forum. If you're a Max user, you can install it and it just saves you having to export and re-import your model. You can just send it over with a click of a button. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to bake out our curvature and all that sort of goodness. Using the low poly as the high poly. Alright, I'm just going to rename this material. I'm going to call this one column caps. And let's find the smart material that we created last week for our column pieces. I'm just going to filter it by the word my because everything I make I put my in front of. Stone borders, I don't think it was that. Ironwork, it wasn't that. Moss stone, I think it might have been that. I think it was that one. I'm just going to double check. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this one. No, not that one. This one. Let's throw the smart material on top. Just wait for the program to compile the shader. Okay, now looking at the texturing, it looks fine. So that's why I said the easiest way to check the UV mapping will be to actually take it into the program and check it here. And that looks okay to me. I don't notice any seams that shouldn't be there. But we do want to change this texture up a little bit because this is giving us the exact same result as we got for the other one we textured up and we made it last week, the one that sits under the fountain. So the easiest way for us to switch it up will be to play with the offset to begin with. So I'm just moving the moss around a little bit. We'll do the same for the underlying stone texture. Change the offset. And the other stone texture underneath of that one. We'll change the offset a little bit. We may just pull back a little bit on just where we can. Let's look at the smart mask that we're using. So we've got triplanar on. We could do an invert. No, I don't like the invert. Let us play maybe with the grunge amount. Yeah, we might pull up on the grunge just to pull back a little bit on the moss on these bits, because I wanted the one that sits under the fountain to be quite mossy, because that's sitting in water. It's going to get a lot of moss growing on it anyway. But these ones that sit on the top of the columns, I don't want them to be quite so mossy. I mean, we're still going to get some moss growing on them, but not quite as much. So pulling up on the grunge amount reduces the moss a little bit. We can play with the curvature. That's mainly affecting the moss around the edges through here. The top-down gradient. You can basically see what's happening here is moss is just gradually starting to grow in the crevices, and the higher I pull up the top-down gradient, the more moss grows in. Nakareko says, I do like the thought you put into each part when texturing. It makes all the difference, I think. I think it does. You can't just think, oh, I'm just going to throw a texture here because, why not? You got to put thought into what you're texturing and what it's being, where it is, how it sits in your model and in the world. So like I said, the other one we made, which is more mossy, is sitting under the fountain, which is sitting in water. So more moss grows there. So I think it's important to sort of think about what you're texturing and in relation to what it is in your model. You will get a better result doing it that way. But these column tops, while I want them a little mossy, I don't want them as mossy as the one that sits in the fountain. All right, so we've moved the offset on all of our textures so that it's not texturing up exactly the same as the other one we made last week for the fountain. We've reduced the amount of moss so it's not quite so mossy. But aside from that, I think this texture is okay. I mean, we could throw down a dirt layer. I don't think we actually added a dirt layer on the other one. We could do that on this one if we wanted to. I think I was talking about doing it, but we ran out of time. So let's, more important on these than on the other one, which sits in the water anyway, so it's not going to get a lot of dirt on it anyway. Let's jump back into our materials and let's see if we can't find something we can use as a dirt layer. So I'm just going to make these larger so they're easier for us to see. I just want like probably a mud. I've used it before. There's a texture here that's I think called dry mud that is quite good for dirt. Not the wet mud, but the dry mud. Sniper says I was in studio a few weeks ago and I actually uninstalled Substance Painter from my machine. The artist couldn't figure out how he made stuff look all the same. He realized about 2 days in that he was just using presets. So you're in the studio and you actually uninstalled Substance Painter from my machine. Yeah, again, you guys know I like to use Mari to do my texturing because I like to get in there and do it all by hand. That's the artist in me. I just like doing stuff by hand. Substance Painter is great because it works procedurally and it can create textures for you quickly. The only problem is everyone's work starts to look the same because everyone uses the same substances. There's Substance Alchemist now, which I'm using to do the tiling, to create a unique looking substance material for the tiles of the Temple of the Winds. So that helps now that you can mix and match your own substances using Alchemist. And I'm still going to take a couple of pieces into Mari to overpaint anyway. Sniper says he's now using Mari. That's the way to go. Sniper Girl says, wow. Sniper Girl says, I use a lot of smart materials. I then go in and edit the hell out of them. Well, that's the way to do it. You must edit them. You can't just throw one of these materials on and say, job done. Don't do that, guys. If you're using Substance Painter, don't just say, I like this one, I'll throw that on and call it job done. You always want to mix and match to get a unique look. Always, always, always. Sniper Recco says, I actually removed Painter from my workflow earlier this year, mainly to prevent making that sort of mistake. Yeah. Like I said, if you throw enough layers down, like we have here, and play with your smart masks, you can get a mix that looks pretty decent. And then you can always overpaint it like we're going to do in Mari anyway for some pieces, if you want an even more unique look. So provided, like I said, you throw down enough layers and you're careful with your mixing, you can get a decent result from Painter. I'm not saying you can't. But you're still stuck with the fact that everyone uses these same materials, so everyone's work starts to look the same. Whereas if you're doing it by hand in Mari, you're painting it in, then there's less of a chance of someone using the same material you're using on their model in their portfolio. You know what I mean? It looks more unique. Not that you can't overpaint in Painter. You can overpaint in Painter as well. You can get a bitmap, you can overpaint it in Painter if you want. Sniper Echo says to Sniper Girl, you need to do that for sure. Sniper Echo says, I like Substance a lot. It's great, but it's not my go-to texture tool now. No, it's really good if you're making games, because it integrates with Unreal really nicely. I think it does with Unity as well. So if you're making a game, it's really good for that. Because you can integrate your substances really easily. They're all physically based materials, all of that sort of good stuff. If you're working in film, Mari, they use Mari in film. They don't use Substance Painter. Because in film, it's a lot more hands-on texture painting work. None of this procedural sort of texturing work that you get with Substance Painter. They expect you to get in there and they expect you to texture by hand. They want more of a unique look. So Mari is used in film, Substance Painter is not. I mean, that may be changing, but none of the studios I've worked at have used Painter. It's always been Mari. Sniper Girl says it's my go-to tool. Have just over 400 materials in Painter. That is nice. Sniper Girl says, so you can easily get away with, my work looks like other people's work issue because of that. You can get away from that, yeah. Anyway, we're going to throw down this mud texture, so I'm going to put that on top. You can see what that has done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the height and I'm going to turn off the normal. I just want the color information here, and I'm going to change the color anyway, so I'm going to darken it up more like that. Also just going to pull out a little bit of the color so it's not quite so brown. I want it to be a little brown, but not as brown. As far as the tiling goes, I think we might be okay. It's not too bad. But we're going to throw down a smart mask now. So let's look at Sniper Girl says, according to an email from Substance, they use Painter in Game of Thrones and in movie First Man, so it's slowly breaking out of just being a gaming program. Yeah, well, Game of Thrones. Who watches that show? That's not a real show. That's not film. Game of Thrones is. I'm joking, guys. Yeah, I'm sure it's used a lot in ArchViz now. It never used to be as well. So doing architectural visualization, they're starting to use Substance Painter a lot as well. But Mari still rules the roost for film. Mari. With Mari though too, you can go as big as you want. The limitation of 8K in Substance Painter, you can't have a texture bigger than 8K. There are no limits in Mari. You can go as big as you've got, as the amount of memory you've got on your computer to work with. Sniper Echo says, I thought that was only the promo stuff though, although even if it wasn't, at least still great to see expanding. Sniper Girl says that Game of Thrones Winter is coming for character art. Oh, okay. Android Lost says, Substance Painter reminds me a lot of Guns on ArtStation portfolios. I like Substance, but smart masks don't belong on guns without editing them, no. Again, that gets back to, I mean, they look fine on their own, but when everyone starts to use them, then that's when it all looks the same. That's the problem. That's the problem with procedural stuff. This is why procedural terrain generation is very popular, and procedural vegetation arrangement and layout is very popular, and I get why it's popular, because if you're going to do it by hand and you've got a huge landscape that's like 20 kilometers by 20 kilometers in your game, it's going to take a lot of work to do that by hand. So, you know, using a procedural to actually place it all, I get that. But then it's important to go into certain areas where the actual physical concentrated gameplay is and alter those areas by hand, because otherwise it just looks too crap. So use a procedural to give you a base, which we can do here, but then go in and do stuff by hand. So I can use Painter here to do the base texturing. Then I take that texturing into Mari and I overpaint it by hand to give me a more unique look. That's a good way to work as well. And that's what we're going to do with a couple of the assets for the Temple of the Winds that we're working on. So let us find a smart mask here for the dirt. Let's try this one. Come on, there we go. It just took Substance a minute or two to work that out. Let's start playing with our smart mask, and let me sit up straight because I have this habit of slumping in my chair and it's not good. All right. But I get what you're saying, Android Lust. I see the same thing in ArtStation as well with people's portfolios. Sniper Girl says, I agree with you. I used a lot of smart materials to ensure that colours were in a limited range, with the exception of a few story elements, and then edited the smart materials. That's the way to go. Just don't use the materials straight. Do some editing with them. Throw some masks on them. Do some hand painting as well. It goes a long way. Okay, I'm just turning on global invert here to see what we got. Okay. I'm just going to turn off that let's turn off that dirt layer so I can see what it's doing here at the moment. Okay, so it's basically what it's doing is it's throwing dirt in the edges here, in the corners. Sniper says, yeah, I totally agree. That's why I spent almost 3 months creating a system for allowing far greater control over procedural placement or content in Unreal. If I wanted to currently the 150 square kilometer terrain, I could control every aspect of it, including asset placement from a Photoshop file. Well, that's very cool to get that fine-grained control. I'd still go in there by hand and do certain areas by hand though, just to give it an even more unique look. Although it does sound very cool what you've created, Sniper. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, wow, jealous, not going to lie. And Sniper Echo says, don't be, it hurt my head a lot. Okay, let's play with these texture values a little bit here so we can see what. Okay, so the higher I pull up the texture, the more of the dirt we're pulling in, and the lower, the less dirt. So we want a little bit of dirt. Texture 2, no, we want to keep texture 2 all the way up. It's going to pull back a little bit on the dirt layer. The ambient occlusion. Just takes the program a second here for me to for it to catch up to what I'm doing. It's because the shade is getting quite complex now that we have so many layers happening. That's why it takes it just a second to work it out. The curvature. The curvature. We can see it around the top here the most. If I turn the curvature all the way down and then pull it up, we're adding dirt to the top here. The world space normal is going to affect where the dirt is on the model, throughout the model. So the higher I pull it, the more dirt we bring in. You might want to pull it up a little bit, not too much though. Position gradient as well. The higher I pull it, the more dirt we introduce into the model, but we don't want it that dirty. And the thickness, I don't know if the thickness is really going to have a huge effect on what we want. Yeah, the thickness pulls in a bit more dirt, we don't want to do that. So what I'm also going to do here is I'm just going to jump back into the mixing. Let's see if we can play with our blend mode. So the multiply is going to darken the dirt up quite a lot. Let's keep playing with the different mixing methods and see if we can come up with something else that we like. It's easy to forget about these changing the blending mode, but it's like I mentioned last week, I use it all the time in Photoshop when I'm creating stuff. If I'm looking for an interesting image or an interesting way to mix two different layers, I always play with the blending mode because you can get some really interesting effects, and the same goes in Substance Painter. It's something it's easy to forget about, but it can be really useful. Really, you can really get some interesting looking stuff if you use it, if you just change your blending mode. Just going to turn the layer on and off so I can see what it's doing as well. It's actually changing it's making the moss a little bit too yellow, so let's change the blending mode again. I don't mind that, just darkening things up just a little bit. It should be okay. Let's do a quick save here just in case anything crashes. And let's export our texture. We're going to export it at, we'll do 2K, that should be big enough. And seriously, I didn't rename it, so it's going to be called Inner Pond Circle 001. Wow. Wow. That's the folder name. Inner Pond Circle 001. Remember that. Because we're going to have to load up the texture now inside of Max. And again, I've got to give Max a minute here because jumping between Substance Painter and Max. Ready Freddy, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. So thank you, Ready Freddy, for following me on Twitch. And welcome to Phil Does 3D. Do remember to jump on the Discord server as well. Anyone new that's watching and wants to post links to their work or to their art station, all that sort of good stuff, you can do it all on the Phil Does 3D Discord server. My naming conventions, Andrew Lust says, I know. It's just, I'm lazy. That's the problem. See, it's called Inner Pond Circle 001. I should have renamed it before I sent it over to Substance Painter. I'm terrible. I should have actually renamed it as I made it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters because it makes organization a little bit crappy. But I'm going to be attaching all these pieces together anyway as one mesh. So in the long term, the end result, it's not going to matter. It's just not good housekeeping though. Not good housekeeping at all. I'm very, very slack. Let us just move to the end of my stack here. Let me get everything lined up because I'm OCD and my OCD kicks in if things aren't lined up nice and straight. There we go. Let's add a new DirectX shader. Sniper Girl says, I really shouldn't complain too much. My naming convention was horrible on the van. Have to rename all the meshes before I'm able to sell it. Yeah, make sure it's all nice and organized if you want to sell it. That'll be the first thing people bitch about if you don't. They'll say, this is a mess. I don't know what's what. Yeah, so it is important. Or if you're working with other people, you've got to give your model to somebody else to work with. That's really important to make sure your naming is correct. Otherwise, they're not going to be happy. Andrew Lust says, until you look back at all those old files, that's true. That's very true. Sniper Girl says, have the good old Polygrun 01, Polygroup 02, Cube 0. No, I'm the same. Sniper says to Sniper Girl, yeah, that landscape shader will work, maybe overkill, but depending on what you want to do. Okay, let us change our DirectX shader from HLSL to interactive so we can see it in the viewport. You can use HLSL files directly in the Unreal Engine, by the way. I don't think I've mentioned that before. You can use a HLSL file in Unreal, but because we're only using it for the viewport, we're changing it to interactive so we can see it on our model in the viewport. That's the only thing we're using it for, really. But I just thought I'd mention that about HLSL. You can use that in Unreal. Okay, so we've changed that. Let's load up the normal map. And what are we looking for? We're looking for Inner Pond Circle 001 as the folder name. Inner Pond Circle 001. Where is it going to be? It's going to be on the C drive in the temp directory. In the sent to Substance, I believe, and working for Inner Pond Circle 001. Inner Pond Circle 001. We want the normal map. We're going to override the gamma to 1. And we want the color map. And we want the metallic map. Metallic. Speak English, Philip. And finally the roughness. Okay, we're going to make the shader unique and we're going to open up the node tree. And just change the number of lights from 1 to 3. And save our shader. And we're going to call this one column caps, which is what it should have been called to begin with. And I'm also just going to pull in the bitmap so we know what our shader is. This one here. And let's just hook that up to the diffuse. It's meaningless, it's just to show us exactly what the shader is. And let's assign the shader to our object. Okay, and I realize I forgot to actually turn them on, so we're going to use the normal map. We have to set that from 0 to 1. We're going to use the color map. We're going to use the metallic map, and we're going to use the roughness map. Oh no, let's see, emissive. We don't want that. We want that one. And now it shows up. Okay, I'm just going to jump back into Substance Painter here and make sure that that is saved and close this program down so it doesn't interfere with Max too much. Android Lust says, I have some save files that are just numbers. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Sniper Girl says to Sniper Echo, looking to make dirt, rock, grass materials and mix it for the auto material. Also use grass and tree meshes that'll make really want to look good. Okay, let's jump out of isolation mode. Just going to deselect that. Select this so that I've got something for Max to lock on to. Alright, now to me it's just looking a little grey. I want to try and avoid making the scene too grey. Now, it's stone. Stone is a greyish colour generally anyway. But what I'll end up doing is, once we have the other bits textured, I will then take a couple of these textured materials into Photoshop, and I'm just going to play around with the colour a little bit. But I won't do that until I've got more pieces textured up, because it's when you start altering or making adjustments, doing color adjustments, it's always better and easier to do it once you've got the rest of the texturing done. Trying to do it before you have the rest of the textures is not a good idea, because they all relate to each other. So once it's all textured up, I'm going to take a couple of the pieces, maybe like this column top I've just made, into Photoshop and do some color correction and color adjustment so I can see it all in relation to each other. So I'll wait until we have a couple more pieces just textured up. The only thing I'm sort of worried about here is I seem to be losing a little bit of the green in the moss, but again, that could just be the angle of the light we're looking at, because looking at it from this side we can see a lot more of the green and a lot more of the brown as well. So we will wait until we've textured more up before I make those adjustments. But what we can do now is we can reuse this texture for all of these column tops. So because it's sort of uniform enough, there isn't anything that stands out as being unique that I think people are going to notice that we're reusing the same texture. So because we did poly reduction, I can't just copy the UVs across. We may have to copy the actual mesh across. Sniper says sponsor agreement is over. You have a blueprint that does that. Interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to select these pieces I want to swap out. So what we may actually do here is we may make a new texture for the taller column pieces. So we'll use the same texture for the lower ones, but we'll do a unique one for the top ones. And again, it'll be quick for us to make another unique one because we're using that smart material we created. We just have to change the offset to make it look more unique. So now that I have all those selected, I'm just going to jump into isolation mode. And I'm going to replace these. I could throw a Pro Optimize down, copy UVs across, but it's just going to be easier and quicker for me to do a complete swap out. So if I jump into the top viewport, wait for Max to catch up. Come on, Max. You can do it. There we go. Rename this so I know what it is. I'm going to call this one column caps SM for small columns. So now I'm just going to duplicate these around. Make sure I line them up. I might just move the pivot to the middle of the object. It's just going to make it easier for me to do this rotation stuff. Again, move the pivot. You've got to shoot all Sniper Echo. Well, thanks for being here. I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow because of the hospital thing again. So I'll be back on Monday next week, and it'll be Monday and Tuesday, I promise, barring any unforeseen things happening tomorrow with the operation for my friend. But I will be streaming again on Monday next week. It was good seeing you, Sniper Echo. Thanks for being here. I will keep you updated, guys, on Discord about everything that happens tomorrow with the hospital. Like I said, I won't post it on my Twitter page, but I'll post it on the Discord server so you guys know. Because the Discord's a little bit more private than Twitter. Now I could do a mirror here, but I'm not going to do that because you know the mirror tool has problems sometimes with UV mapping. So I'm just going to do this rotation by hand and not use mirror. Mirror would be the ideal tool to use, but like I said, Max's mirror tool can sometimes mess up the UVs. I don't know why, it just does. It's been like that since about Max 2016. I don't know why they don't fix it. And the last one over here. We must start working on the House on the Hollow game, but I really want to get this model done so I can put it in my store before we start working on the game level, but I'm going to have to start working on the game level really soon. So now I'm just going to remove the old one, so we don't want that one. That one, that one, that one, or that one. Just jumping out of isolation mode here, jump out of the top viewport. Just wondering why our texture is showing up so dark. I think it's to do with the lighting, I think. It's strange. I'm just going to jump into isolation mode again and check this. Make sure that the right material is assigned, which I'm sure it is. I think it's the lighting, because these are DirectX materials. I have a feeling... Looks like Backbase is in Maya. Yeah, it's not... Okay, so it looks like... That is strange. Why did it do that though? It looks like the UV mapping. I'm just going to... do an unwrap UVW on this one. Copy it. Yeah, the UV should be correct though. But again, it's a problem with Max. Sometimes Max's copying of meshes has real problems with UV. So if you're a Max user, do be aware that sometimes when you copy meshes, Max loses its UV mapping. God knows why. Easy enough to fix just by repasting your UVs again, but annoying. Certainly annoying. But anyway, there we go. We've repasted our UVs in, and let's fix that problem. So let us do a quick save so we don't lose the work we've done. I'm just going to get myself nice and organized here so my model's in the center before I do my save. And there we go. So yes, we might leave it there for today, guys. I do want to thank you though very much for being here and hanging out and watching. My apologies for my schedule last week and this week. I know it's not nice when I'm not streaming for you guys, but I won't be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to be at the hospital with my friend. I will be back on Monday next week, and fingers crossed, all going well tomorrow. I'll be back to my normal schedule of every Monday and every Tuesday from next week. Android Lust says the UV map shot off into a... I know. Where did it go? It's not a problem. Yeah, well, thank you, Android Lust. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for being here and for watching and for putting up with my erratic schedule last week and this week. I will be back on Monday next week. I will let you guys know in the Discord server how everything goes. Dovizo, thank you for the follow, Dovizo. I do appreciate the follow, so thank you for following me, Dovizo. Yeah, I'll post on the Discord server, guys. Let you guys know tomorrow how everything went. Fingers crossed the operation happens and that he pulls through and everything is fine. I'll let you guys know on Discord. I'll be back streaming on Monday next week. It'll be Monday, Tuesday next week. You guys and girls have a great weekend. And take care. Stay happy, healthy and safe. Tap Crush, it's good to see you, Tap Crush. You pop in just as I sign off, but it's good to see you, Tap Crush. I hope you're well. Yeah, so no stream tomorrow because of me having to go to hospital with my friend. I'll be back on Monday next week for our normal schedule of Monday and Tuesday. You guys take care, stay happy, healthy and safe. And I will see you guys on Monday, and I'll let you guys know in Discord tomorrow how everything goes. I will try and bring you good news, Android Lust. I'll post in Discord, let you guys know how it all went. You guys take care and have a great weekend, and I will see you all on Monday next week. See you guys.